The technique is called the Feynman Technique. It is based off a Nobel Prize winning physicist. He's actually very well known, wrote some really good fiction books called Richard Feynman. And he was known as the great explainer because he could explain very complex topics in very simple, digestible ways for the average person. Now, I feel like a lot of successful people I admire, such as Warren Buffett, do the same thing in their respective disciplines. And so how do you use the Feynman technique in your own life? Well, it's really about taking complex topics and distilling them and practicing them in ways where you are trying to explain them to another person or to yourself out loud on a piece of paper in simple to understand, easily graspable ways. I'll give you a story to illustrate the power of this and when I really uncovered this. So I was taking organic chemistry in college, which is a classic weed out course. We're talking most of the enrollees end up doing poorly, which kind of weeds them off the pre-med program. I remember going to a optional like TA class where you could talk to a teacher's assistant and ask questions and get tips. Now he explained this one organic chemistry concept like 4 or 5 times, and I thought I had understood it and mastered it based off how he was explaining it. But then when another student came in and asked me to explain it to him, I tried, and the difference of ability to explain it was pretty substantial. I realized I couldn't really explain this topic well, and I had a lot to learn about it. So although I thought my level of understanding was already there, it turns out when you try and teach it to someone else, you realize you still have a lot to learn about it, and you still have a long way to go to mastering it. And you realize that teaching it to someone else is one of the best ways of learning it. So there's various different ways you could put into play the Feynman technique, even if you're on your own in a remote setting where you cannot talk to someone else. Although I highly encourage you to find someone to use it with as your first line of defense. And you'll notice your first few attempts, you'll trip over your words. You won't understand this very well. So I'll give you a couple examples of this in practice to show you how it works and how you can apply it verbally to someone else or on your own when you're just in your house by yourself. So let's use business examples because I really like business. There is a concept that's really well known called the moat of investing. And it's a concept used to stop people from investing in the wrong things and analyze a business. Now this concept, when I first try to explain it, it's a little bit complex, so then I stumble over my words and don't understand it and can't explain it properly. But when I try to explain it to other people, after just thinking it through and really understanding the nuances to it, I realized, hey, essentially what it is basically just making sure your business has a competitive advantage that others can't copy easily. In fact, I think Mr. Beast, a top YouTuber, does this very well in his videos. He explains somewhat more complex YouTube video ideas in very simple terms. Hey, last to leave this circle wins a Lamborghini. He could have said, oh, well, you know, we have this circle, and if you have people in it, and then we have 100, and then like at the end, like someone wins a lot of money. Realize how much more concise and quick and understandable the first one was.
I put 100 people inside of a giant circle, and whoever leaves the circle last wins 500.
Let's take a mathematical problem like the Pythagorean theorem. When you write it down on paper, it can be kind of confusing at first, but when you add diagrams, when you add notes, and then when you realize you're using less words to explain it, and then when you show that piece of paper to other people and they can understand it much easier, that's when you're getting to a better level of nuanced understanding of the topic. At first, you might be writing out a paragraph on what a squared plus b squared equals c squared means. But then over time, you can distill that, revise that into one diagram, one sentence, or maybe just a few extra, arrows and notes. And now you're at a better level of understanding of the topic, and you can explain it better to other people, which means you have now mastered the topic. And that will be great for you when you have to employ it on tests and quizzes. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed this video. I also recommend that you leave a comment with other study techniques that you have found useful, so that our little community here can help each other out and grow from it. I love that positive vibe. Also, shout out to Thomas Frank for inspiring this video and my discussion on the Feynman technique.